Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be picking my July TBR. Crazy to think that we're already talking about the July TBR, but here we are with our dice and our board. So we'll go ahead and pick out our 8 prompts. Okay, so for our first roll, we have 6 and 6, and that is first book from my Fable feed. So let's go ahead and pull up Fable and see kind of what we have going on over there. I took some time a couple months ago to make sure that my Fable feed and like the books that I own are like perfectly synced up. So hopefully we get a like recent addition to my Fable like want to read list, or I mean just anything that I obviously have been wanting to read. So let me go ahead and start my screen record. There we go. And I already read a little bit this morning. Remarkably Rare Creatures, we already read. Oh, someone's cat. That's freaking cute. Okay. Howl's Moving Castle. I don't have a physical copy of this. I actually don't know why this is showing up on my feed, because it should be books I like own. I also don't own Divine Rivals. Oh my god, another cat. That is the 3rd book in the Blood and Ash series, so I don't think I can start there. I don't own The Hobbit. I do own Fever Dream. So that one is a very recent addition to the shelves, but we could go ahead and do Fever Dream. Okay, so we have our first book on the TBR, Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. I don't know a ton about this one. I do know that it follows one of the guys in the Rose Hill series, Sister, and she's like a TV producer. And I think she falls for a guy on the show that she's supposed to be producing. But I don't know if the show is like Cowboy Wants a Wife situation, or if it's like a documentary thing. I don't really understand who the subject star of the show kind of guy is, but I do know that it's a cowboy romance, obviously, because that's what Elsie's known for. Kind of chunky. I'm pretty sure this thing clocks in at over 500 pages, because that is what she tends to do. Oh, okay, it's not that bad. It's over 428. So that's not terrible. So yes, this will be our first book on the TBR. So now we're going to roll for our second prompt. So for this one, we got 5 and 4. So 5, 4, book baddies group picks. So we'll see how this goes. So I think last time my friends were like running out of recommendations for me. So we'll see if anyone has one this time. I sent that text off to the group chat. We shall see how long that takes, because I think last time, like I said, we struggled for a minute. So let's go ahead and roll for our next prompt. Okay, 6 and 3. 6, 3, priority TBR. Okay, that's a good one, because we have not read from our priority TBR for the last, like, at least month, if not 2 months. So let's go ahead and pull some books from our priority TBR. I've returned, and I have 2 books that we're adding to the monthly TBR. Bestie Cecilia replied in the group chat, and she recommended Bromantasy, and I actually just picked this one up when I was in Kansas for a work training, so perfect timing. Absolutely think this is like so hilarious. The tagline on it is literally 2 heroes, 1 brain cell, which like my group of friends and I literally joke that we have 1 brain cell all the time. And then I also thought that the sprayed edges were super fun, because they literally just say bro. It's so funny and so cute. But basically this one is like a romantic comedy set in, I guess, like a fantasy world. And obviously we have like 2 male leads, which is very exciting, because I feel like we don't get a ton of like, at least I don't get a ton of gay-centered romantasy. I feel like it's usually sapphic romantasy or like heterosexual romantasy. So I'm very excited for it to be MM. But so it looks like our main characters are Juniper O'Reilly, who's good at 2 things: demolishing a pint of mead and finding the perfect skincare routine, and Mo Elmthorne. Oh my gosh, Juniper accidentally volunteers them both for a quest to kill a fearsome monster. That is so funny. Okay, so yes. Super excited. And then also on the back says, this book contains dummies to lovers. There was only 1 bed. Oops, we accidentally adopted a kid. and I need to eat some cheese about this, which I think is hilarious. So super excited for this one to be on the TBR. Thank you, bestie Cecilia. And then the priority TBR book that I picked, I really wanted to throw in a mystery thriller. I have not read very many mystery thrillers like at all. I don't know if the last couple that I read just like didn't hit as hard as I wanted to, but I feel like June especially, like I just like was not feeling mystery thriller, and now all of a sudden I kind of am. And so I wanted to do mystery thriller. Almost all my mystery thrillers on the priority TBR are school focused. Like we have the sorority murders, which is like set in a college campus, the Ravens, which is set in a college campus. Um, I have a few questions for you. That one's set in a college campus. Like it's all like school. And so the only mystery thriller that I had on the TBR that wasn't school focused is What Lies in the Woods. This one is by Kate Alice Marshall. And I believe this one's about girls who have something tragic happen to them in the woods when they're young. And I think they like tell adults like a certain person did it. And then here we are like multiple years later, and that's not the person who actually hurt them. Yeah, very interesting. So this is going to be my pick for priority TBR. So let's go ahead and roll for our fourth prompt. 6 and 4. 6, 4, less than 300 pages. Okay, I feel like we're like heavily gravitating towards like that one side of the board, because most of our polls have been on like that like bottom-ish left corner. I had to think really hard about what side was on. But so less than 300 pages. I feel like most of the books that I would usually pull for this are either cowboy romance or like I had a couple novellas set aside, and we very obviously have a cowboy romance already on the TBR. I don't know if I have any novellas that I could make work for this, but we're going to try. So I'll be back with a couple of books that are under 300 pages. So I have returned and I have a lot of options to pick from, mostly in the romance genre, but they're all under that 300 pages. So our first option is clocking in at around 280 or so pages. 287. And this one's actually a romantasy. It's sapphic. And in this one, we are following a like demon and a princess who are like looking for, I think it's the princess's magic that went missing. And they're trying to like save the realm by finding the princess's magic. Sounds super cute, super fun. That will be our only kind of romantasy contender. And then the rest of these are all just traditional romances. So first up, we have Two Can Play. This is Ali Hazelwood's like video game novella. But I got to be honest, I did read Problematic Summer Romance in the month of June, and we'll just say it was problematic. I was not a fan. I was not having it. And so I know that Ali has released that a couple of books of hers are coming out. I believe it's two that are like this one, started out as an audio and are now being like published to have like a physical copy. So I think there's two in that series. And so like obviously we have a time frame for more Ali Hazelwood books to come out, but I'm kind of terrified of reading this one and not liking it, or reading it and loving it and then having no more Ali Hazelwoods for the next like 6 months. So I don't think this one's going to be a contender. So our next contender is Twisted Kingdom. This one's by Rena Kent, and it is the third book in the Royal Elite series. We finished the second one in April, I think. And so it would be kind of nice to like finish it off, especially since like it had been so long since I read the first one. And I do think the twist at the end of the second book was very interesting. I'm very excited to see where Rena Kent takes the story about Elsa and Aiden and kind of concludes their story, because the first trilogy kind of follows them. And then the last three books, I think, because it's a 6-book series, the last 3 books in that series follow other couples in their friend group. So I'm kind of excited to see where this one goes, and I don't really have anything like it on the TBR yet. But speaking of things that I don't have anything like that on the TBR, we also have Wait With Me. This one is by Amy Dawes, and I actually picked this one up at the thrift store pretty recently. It's a sprayed edge copy, which I thought was so fun and so cute, and a really good friend of mine actually got back into reading and loves Amy Dawes. Like, this is one of her favorite authors, so I was like, oh my god, this is a perfect chance to give it a try. And apparently Amy Dawes was inspired by waiting for her car's tires to get changed, like at the repair shop, and that's kind of what inspired this whole like story. So I think that that's super fun, super interesting, and I'm very excited to see kind of like what this story has in store. And then our last 2 options are ones that have been on the TBR for a while. Like, I haven't usually picked them for a monthly one, but I've owned these copies for a minute. So first up is Summer in the City. This one is by Alex Astor. It's her first contemporary novel. So I'm not sure how I'll like it, but I did really like Light Lark. I've heard kind of mixed reviews about Starside. Is that her other one? I've heard kind of mixed reviews on that one. But I do know that this one follows a couple who decide to fake date. I believe the girl is like new to New York, or she like is missing the spark of New York. And so her and this really rich guy decide to fake date, which we love. And then my last option is Expiration Dates. This one's by Rebecca Searle, I think is how you say her name. And all I really know about this one is that Rebecca Searle does kind of like magical realism a little bit. And this girl, whenever she starts dating a new guy, receives a like piece of paper with a date on it. And that's usually the day that like their relationship ends. And so she starts dating a new guy and she gets her slip of paper. There's no date on it. So she has to figure out kind of like what that means. So I kind of am leaning towards this one. If we're being honest, like I do really want kind of like a standalone, but also it would be nice to like finish the trilogy of these first couple Royal Elite books. It would be kind of nice to do that, but I'm just not sure if I'm in the mood for it because I did not love the second book. It was kind of boring. It didn't really catch me until the very end with the final like cliffhanger plot twist. And that's the main reason why I want to pick this up. I just want to figure out what's going on with that. I don't care about the other like 280 pages. Like I just want to see the resolution of what exactly scene we were in when the second book ended. So I think based on that, I am going to go ahead and put Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle on the TBR just to say that I finished it. It's a one and done. It sounds super interesting. It's also one of the shortest ones on this list. I think everything else was in at around 270 to 280. This one is literally 250. I think the only one shorter than it is the Allie Hazelwood option. But like I said, I don't think I'm going to do that one. So we're going to put Expiration Dates on the TBR. So now let's go ahead and roll for our fifth prompt. Yes, our fifth prompt. 2 and 1. 2 and 1. So part of a series. So for that one, I want to try and stick to series I'm already currently reading, which is a choice. And I hate that I made that choice. Okay, I'm trying to think of what series I'm currently reading that are vastly different from the books that I have already on the TBR. Obviously, like mystery thriller, we aren't really doing any mystery thriller series at the moment. Trying to think, don't have any magical realism series. There are a couple cowboy romance series that I could do, so I'll probably try to steer clear of those. I'm also trying to think if there are any series that I could start getting closer to finishing because of Books, Gowns, and Crowns coming up, because that one is in September, and it would be kind of nice to read a lot of the books that are in series that I'll be meeting the authors for. So let me take a peek at my list for that event and see if there are any. I know exactly what book I'm going to do. I've already had her sign it, so it like doesn't really matter. But I do think I should start trying to finish the Spark of the Everflame series because that author is going to be there first and foremost, and we finally have a release date for that fourth book. So I think this is the perfect time to put, what is it, Glow of the Everflame? Let me grab the book. So the next book in the Kindred's Curse saga that I need to read is Glow of the Everflame. And like I said, I already have my copy signed, but it would be very nice to get done with this series by September. I think September 8th is our release date for the fourth book. So if I read this one in July and then I read Heat of the Everflame, which is the third book, in August, we can pick up Burn of the Everflame at Books, Gowns, and Crowns, have it signed by Penn Cole, and then read it that week. That would be perfect. So I think that's our game plan. We'll see how that goes. But Glow of the Everflame is making its way onto the July TBR. I cannot tell if it's The Delusion or if this is actually the easiest TBR I've ever made. I can't decide. 2 and 5. 2, 5. Pet picks. Pet picks. Okay, perfect. Let me grab a couple of books that are a little different than what we currently have on the TBR. I think we don't have any sports romances, so it might be kind of nice to get a sports romance on here, but I know Bixby is not a sporty guy, so we'll see what he thinks. So, as I'm sure you guys saw from that last clip, Bixby helped us pick out our book, and he went with Stealing Home. I know that this one is a baseball romance, and I know that it is the third in an interconnected series. And as you can see on the back, we have already read the first two, which was First Down and Breakaway, which was football and hockey. So this one follows their like adopted brother that like is like in their family. And so it's him and a girl named Mia. So this one's college baseball. Super exciting. I'll go over the two that Bixby didn't pick just because I am also very excited to read those two. So the first one was Collide, and this one is a hockey romance. But I think that we're following a student who doesn't like hockey, and then she partners with a hockey player for like some kind of an assignment. Yes, she wants to become a sports psychologist. And so she partners up with him for like a research project. So that one is also like a book that I'm really into and want to read. And then our other option was Play Along. This one is the fourth book in the Windy City series. So in this book, we're following Kendi and Isaiah. Kendi is the only female working for this baseball team, and she is also one of their physical therapists. And Isaiah's had a crush on her for like as long as she's worked there, but she's been married. And so when she gets a divorce, they end up going to Las Vegas for, I think, like the playoffs or something, like woohoo sports. And they end up getting like Vegas married. So it's a like fake marriage. So super exciting, super into this. But Bixby did not pick those. He wanted baseball, so that's totally okay. I will read that one for my son. And let's go ahead and roll for our seventh pick. Yes, this will be our seventh pick. 4 and 4. 4. Red on the cover. Okay. Red on the cover. For red on the cover, I feel like I keep saying this book will be perfect for red on the cover, and then I forget it exists. And then I don't pick it for red on the cover. So I need to see, first and foremost, what red on the covers I have, but also if any of them like go with Book Scams and Crowns authors, because I do feel like those are usually the ones where I'm like, oh, that'll be perfect for this. And then I just don't pick it up. So let's see what red on the cover books we're working with first and foremost. I'm back with red on the cover books that will probably work for this prompt. So first option is Terror at the Gates. This one's by Scarlett St. Clair. And I don't know a ton about this one, but I do know it's really good for people who have religious trauma. So that's me. So I think that this one would be a really fun one. It is a little bit darker and more gothic than I would want in July. And I think that's my main kind of issue as to why I probably might not pick it. Our other option is probably also not a good contender for the July TBR just because it is like at a like dark academia kind of setting. So this one is An Arcane Inheritance by Camilla Cole. I don't really know much about this one at all, besides the fact that it's like at a spooky university. Like that's literally all I've got. And like the vibes on the cover are like insane. So like I'm really excited for it. I just don't think this is the good time. My other option that I also found was Bloodbound. I also don't really know a ton about this, but I do know that it's by an author duo. We found that out the last time we almost picked it. So I'm saving this one for the author duo prompt, which means none of the books on my actual physical TBR right now fit the prompt the way that I'm hoping and envisioning. And that's where the internet comes in. Thank you, Jesus. On Kindle Unlimited, I can get The Empress. This one's by Kristen Cass. I'll go ahead and put a picture of the cover like up here on the screen so you guys see what I'm talking about. But I think I'm going to go with this one. All I really know about it is that it is a kind of like tarot card inspired like romantasy. I know that it's on the lighter side. And I do believe that people from like the real world get transported into a fantasy world. I'm not 100% confident. I know there's 3 books out right now. And my main gripe is the first book looks a certain way. I'm putting it up on the screen now. The rest of the books look a different way. Putting those up on the screen now. So I don't own the first book, but I own the second 2. Hoping that the first book gets new covers. But Kristen Cass is one of the authors that will be at Book Scams and Crowns. So maybe I can even ask her, which would be very delightful. So with that being said, The Empress is going to be the 7th book we pick for our July TBR. So let's go ahead and roll for that 8th and final prompt. 6 and 1. 6 and 1. Cartoon cover. This is such a fun one. Usually ends up being contemporary romance because so many contemporary romance series have cartoons on the covers. So let's see what cartoon cover we can find. I'm back with a little stack of cartoon covers that we could possibly add to the TBR. In normal me fashion, a lot of sports romance. So I'm not too surprised, but I have a couple of other options. It's not that bad. So our first option was actually one of the ones that we could have picked for pet picks, and that is Collide. So I already had this one out and I was thinking, wait, they're cartoons. They're super cutesy. And like I said, it's a college hockey romance where the girl wants to be like a sports psychologist and he gets assigned to help her with her research. Our second option is Canadian Boyfriend. So this one is about a girl and obviously a Canadian hockey player. I don't know too much about it besides that. Ooh, it's a single dad. Interesting. Okay. So she's a teacher. He's a single dad hockey player. And she actually used to lie about having a boyfriend in Canada. And she used to say it was him. So very interesting, very fun. A top contender for sure. Because I do really want a hockey romance. But I'm not sure if I want college or adult age. Our last option of the sports romances is Cleat Cute. This one is one that I get recommended all the time. It's a sapphic soccer romance between a older, more senior soccer star and the new girl on the team. So that one sounds super fun and interesting. And then our last option for a cartoon cover is the not sport option, and that is Baby Moon or Bust. This one is following an accidental pregnancy trope where the girl decides to have the baby, take care of herself, go on this baby moon before she has her baby, and then she runs into her baby daddy who didn't realize she was pregnant at all. So they decide to try and see if they can make it work. So I think I'm leaning a little bit less into this one just because I'm not really feeling accidental pregnancy, but I do like that it is summery and beachy. So I might want this one when it gets colder and gross outside to kind of take me out of our gross cold winter weather. That kind of leaves us with 3 different sports books, which is kind of funny considering I don't really do sports at all. But the one that I am leaning the most towards is actually Canadian Boyfriend. I didn't realize that this one was going to be kind of as funny and interesting. And so I think I'm going to go with this one just to see what I think, see if I like it. Because I think that I'm also going to have a lot more prompts that could work for Cleat Cute and Collided than I would for Canadian Boyfriend. So we're going to go with this one. So let's go ahead and do a super quick rapid fire wrap up of all of the books that we picked for our July TBR. So our first pick was the first book that we saw on Fable, which ended up being Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. Our second book actually came from my Book Baddies group chat recommendation. And so for that one, we got Romanticy by Marie Roche. Our third pick was from the Priority TBR. So for that one, I picked What Lies in the Wood by Kate Alice Marshall. Our next prompt that we got was Under 500 Pages. So for that one, we went with Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. The next prompt that we got ended up being a book in a series. So for that one, I'm picking up Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Our sixth prompt was Pet Picks, and Bixby helped us pick Stealing Home by Grace Riley. The seventh prompt that we got was a book with red on the cover, so I'm going to read The Empress by Kristen Cass. And our final prompt was cartoon cover, so for that one we picked Canadian Boyfriend. So here's a look at the July TBR. Kind of crazy, but also really great. We have a mystery thriller. I think we have 3 romanticities, and then a sports romance, a cowboy romance, 2 sports romances. We have 2 sports romances and a cowboy romance. So I think it'll be a really good reading month. If you make it to the end of the video, go ahead and leave. Oh my gosh, what emoji should we do? It's like a baseball emoji. Have we done a baseball emoji? Yeah, if you make it to the end of the video, just leave the baseball emoji for Stealing Home. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hi, hello, and welcome to my YouTube video. That's not what I usually say. So bestie Cecilia got back to me in the group chat and recommended, what the fuck is this called? Romanticy. Okay, I'm going to say that again. So let's go ahead and roll for, and I'm really excited to see where Rena Kent is taking the story, to conclude this trilogy about Elsa and, what's the guy's name? Aiden. Yes. We also have Wait for Me, or Wait with Me. Wait with. Okay. So now let's go ahead and roll. Oh my God, I'm holding this super awkward. I'm trying to read and see. like what the dealio is. But yes. And I believe that this one we are following like a like student, well, they're both students, obviously. So we are following Kennedy and Isaiah, and Kennedy is one of the physical therapists at the like baseball team. At the baseball team, that doesn't make any sense. Kennedy is the, I'm going to start that again, with a little stack of red books on the cover. I don't really know a ton about it besides the fact that it is kind of like a, what the hell is it called? Like a tarot card. It's a sapphic. Words are hard. So our first pick was, well, not really. Let me put these in order. And our last prompt was cartoon cover. So for that one, I went, no. Our sixth prompt was Stealing Home by Grace Riley.